Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Art History Fun with Dr. Brian. I'm Brian Zygmunt, professor of art history at Mount St. Mary's University in Maryland, and today we're going to spend 3 good minutes looking at one of the real masterpieces of the early Italian Renaissance, Giotto's Lamentation from the Scrovegni Chapel. Now, in the early 14th century, a very subtle revolution completely transformed European art. For centuries, medieval painters had depicted sacred figures as flat, distant symbols, frozen against the gold background that was very common during the Italo-Byzantine period, particularly with artists who immediately preceded Giotto, people like Duccio and Cimabue. These ended up being divine icons that were meant to be revered, but they weren't really human figures with which viewers could actually create an emotional connection with. And then came Giotto. Around 1305, inside the Scrovegni Chapel in Padua, Giotto created an entire cycle of frescoes, of which the Lamentation is but one marvelous example. And there are several things I want to point out during this very brief discussion. One, a sense of real sincere emotional connection, and secondly, an increasing sense of three-dimensionality. Now, if we were to focus our attention for a second on emotion, when we look around, we can see those who are looking at Christ are sincerely grieving his loss. Mary cradles his head, her face filled with anguish. John the Evangelist is leaning over, his arms thrown back in despair. Mary Magdalene examines the wounds at Christ's feet. And the angels around Christ are fluttering about, ripping their hair and tearing their clothes. This is a depiction of grief unlike anything we've really seen within Italian art up until this time frame. But there's something else really important here, and that is the sense of three-dimensionality that is brand new in the early 14th century. Giotto has created a relatively realistic rendering of space, and he's done through a variety of means. One is the idea of overlapping. Right? There's a figure with their back to us in green who's in front of Christ, who's in front of Mary, who's in front of the figures that are in the background. This overlapping of people creates an illusion of space. But there's something else at play here, and I call your attention to St. John, the figure standing wearing the pink robe. His arms have been raised, thrown back, and there has been foreshortening created within his arms. His hand, for example, his right hand, seems to be coming out of his head, but you as a smart viewer know the hand isn't growing out of the side of his head, that hand is attached to a forearm and an upper arm, which sits inside a shoulder. All of that creates a sense of space. Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I certainly appreciate and thankful for your support. If you anything you want to hear about, let me know. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Thank you.